Over the next 4 years, we anticipate that Nvidia will at least 10 times. Although they are developing some software, Nvidia is primarily a hardware firm and represents the hardware side of the AI revolution. I just gave you an excellent example, and if this revolution is as significant as we believe it to be, we should see those GPUs being used effectively. Autonomous technology will revolutionize not only automobiles, but also trucks and unmanned aerial vehicles. In the future, drones will be used for deliveries. The convergence is the same, and AI is the catalyst for it all. We will have to wait and see, but the longer it waits, the more advanced Nvidia may get. Following several new highs on the S&P 500, which are largely related to technology, there are concerns in the market. People begin to wonder if they have seen something before. Have I personally witnessed the dot-com period, and is it reoccurring? What does it mean when individuals use terms like reversion to the mean in this context? This, however, is not the telecom and AI bubble. It is fundamentally different since the companies that are driving the indexes and at the top of them are well established and extremely profitable. The 1930s is, in fact, the era to which we are comparing this. That may come as a surprise given that it was the Depression, but if you examine market concentration in the early stages of the Depression, you will see that the GDP fell by 30% and the jobless rate reached 25%. The question was whether or not businesses would survive. Binary was used. You therefore paid close attention to a small number of names. At the top of the list was AT&T. The global economy was only beginning to adopt telephones. What happened following that concentration? After that, the market expanded, and we entered a robust bull market. Larger, but not mega-cap stocks, mid-cap stocks, and small-cap stocks all did significantly better than mega-cap stocks. We think that the stimulus for expanding this market will be a decline in interest rates, which we think will happen. That's intriguing. Since we will undoubtedly receive an inflation print, let's briefly discuss interest rates. We attempt to ascertain the whereabouts of Jerome Powell and the head of the Federal Reserve as we obtain those. This week, Jerome Powell seemed to imply, listen, we're cognizant of the fact that if we keep rates too high for too long, we could hurt the economy. The door appears to be expanding wide. What will happen to some of these tech equities if the Fed does make a cut this fall? Perhaps 2 before the year ends, depending on whether the market is correct? Since a really noteworthy run has already occurred. Yes, but it's been a pretty focused run. We have positioned our initiatives in the belief that the market will expand. She referred to the Magnificent Six, or MAGC, as having a significantly different exposure to AI than we have. After the run, Tesla is back in the gang, I suppose. Since Tesla is performing this year, I believe they may invite it back in after bumping it out last year. It is the world's largest AI project, and according to Nvidia's recent calls, the automotive industry is likely one of the main winners and influencers in the field. We believe that a winner-take-most approach and a small number of winners will be the main focus. Indeed, we believe that when interest rates decline, the market will expand and help the AI beneficiaries in our portfolio. Many people are shocked to learn that the flagship plan includes so much in the healthcare sector, but we do think that AI, when combined with gene editing and sequencing technology, is truly talking about curing diseases, not just treating their symptoms. There isn't a more significant use of AI that comes to mind. According to GICS, we therefore have the same amount in what we refer to as the multi-omic sector as we do in pure-play technology. Interesting things. People are concerned that inflation will be rekindled if we are discussing taming it and central banks making cuts. Our central bank has already made one, and we are anticipating another later this month. You seem to believe that a deflationary climate is more plausible. Indeed, there are 2 possible outcomes that we may envision. It is already taking place. Due to intense pressure on consumers, Walmart, Target, Costco, Best Buy, Starbucks, Wendy's, and McDonald's are all lowering their pricing in their quarterly earnings reports. These days, middle-class consumers are giving in and searching for discounts. It's a cyclical phenomena, and when you think about it, it's rare for prices to drop entirely. Technology has made it possible for the second source of deflation to occur. All 5 of the aforementioned innovation platforms have learning curves, which are reflected in pricing and cost reductions. Although it's healthy deflation, the 5 platforms are very deflationary. These new technologies will scale across more and more industries and become mass market potential as prices and costs decline. Therefore, explosive growth is linked to these price drops. Indeed, we believe that deflationary factors are present on both a cyclical and secular level, and that the low side of inflation and interest rates will be the surprise of the coming years. In the past, Nvidia was the engine powering Tesla's innovative technology. Until the firm finally created its own internal systems, these GPUs powered Tesla vehicles. These original Nvidia cards are now highly sought-after collectibles that sell for hefty prices on the illicit market. For instance, some rare models have sold for hundreds of thousands of dollars, and one specific model is presently going for $199,000. Get yours now by clicking the link below, but don't delay. There is very little stock. If earnings growth is decreasing, it's still excellent and stands out from the competition, of course. But does price appreciation justify the valuation based on earnings growth, which is clearly slowing, when expenditure is still growing at an exponential rate? By the end of the month, I believe we'll have a solid understanding of your query. I believe that Nvidia will come forward and provide a response to your query on behalf of everyone. I believe the market reacts appropriately if there is a mistake and the slowdown is greater than expected. However, until then, you must consider all of these earnings to be innocent until and unless proven guilty. Okay, so Nvidia will be there on the 28th, correct? Although it is still a while off, we will face it head-on. Today, Goldman reiterates the recommendation to purchase that stock. Conviction list is another way they say it. They believe that the configuration is still beneficial. What do you think, Kevin? I've been on the outside looking in for what seems like 2 years because Nvidia doesn't pay dividends, and I've watched it rise 40% in 2 days, but 157% in a year. Hey, hold off till they make that announcement. Yes, thank you. It seems to me that there is value there. Okay, there were no earnings to support it. We may say of the 2000 boom, but Nvidia still makes an impression. These profits are present, and the multiple continues to decline. Therefore, I believe that people will keep making that trade. Just to offer a bit more context, these names receive passive flows of money because they are listed in the index. So, you have money flowing in all the time. Joe raised an excellent point regarding the share buybacks that occurred, and it makes sense. These stocks weren't entirely out of whack right now, but they were inflated to their current levels a week and a half ago. We restate the purchase and the conviction list at Goldman, and they indicate that everything is in place for a positive quarter, Brin. How do we perceive it? In addition, I believe Lisa Su is merely verifying what Jensen will say in a few weeks due to AMD's acquisition of ZT System. The hyperscalers have already distributed all of their profits, and they have all assured us that they will keep spending at this astronomical rate. Since Nvidia is receiving the majority of that funding, why wouldn't they present solid data and raise the bar? Not a single company, including Google, Microsoft, Amazon, Tesla, and others, has stated that it is slowing down. Everybody is in. Therefore, this trend continues when there is a financial boom. Kevin also discussed the resemblance to the late 1990s. Look at the 3-year number if you're looking at the keys. The Qs have had a 33% cumulative return over the past 3 years. That's all. You are talking about more than 100% between 1997 and 1999. The situation for these businesses is therefore significantly different from that in the late 1990s, when the Qs were up 33% or 10% on average. That is consistent with a typical time. I believe that Nvidia will start this up again, and that investors will continue to gravitate toward firms like Palantir and Nvidia. I don't see why people interpret the AMD deal's headlines as a sign that Nvidia is facing competition from